Welcome to Context 101. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. Schakenstense, Onestanders of Road. In the heart of South Asia, Pakistan, home to over 240 million people, stands at a crossroads unlike any in its history. This vibrant nation, known for its rich culture, resilient spirit, and strategic importance, now finds itself gripped by a storm that threatens the very foundation of its democracy. Pakistan faces a constitutional crisis that shakes its democratic core, sending shockwaves through every level of society. The air is thick with uncertainty, and the future of the nation hangs in the balance. This isn't a military coup, nor is it a sudden violent takeover. Instead, it's a silent, calculated power grab, one that unfolds behind closed doors, away from the public eye, yet with consequences that are impossible to ignore. In a move that has stunned observers, Parliament has stripped the Supreme Court of its authority, transferring its powers to a newly created politically appointed body. This seismic shift has upended the traditional balance of power. The controversial 27th constitutional amendment has not only divided the nation, but also created two apex courts, each vying for legitimacy and control. Legal experts warn that this duality could paralyze the justice system for years to come. The Supreme Court, once the ultimate guardian of the Constitution, now finds itself subordinate in constitutional matters, its authority diminished and its future uncertain. In protest, several judges have resigned, their actions a powerful statement against what they see as the erosion of judicial independence. Their departures have left a void in the nation's highest court. These judges have declared that the Constitution they swore to protect is no more, torn apart by political maneuvering and disregard for the rule of law. The legal community is in open revolt, staging protests and demanding the restoration of judicial independence. Lawyers across the country have united in a rare show of solidarity, their voices echoing through the streets. Meanwhile, ordinary citizens watch the news with growing anxiety, wondering if the checks and balances that once protected their rights have been erased for good. The sense of unease is palpable as people question what the future holds. The amendment also grants lifelong immunity to the president and top military figures, shielding them from any form of accountability. This unprecedented protection raises fears of unchecked power at the very top. Judicial appointments, once a symbol of merit and independence, are now heavily politicized. The lines between the judiciary and political interests have blurred, undermining the credibility of the entire system. Decades of hard-won democratic institution building are at risk of unraveling, threatening to erase the progress made since Pakistan's founding. The nation's democratic legacy hangs by a thread. The world must pay attention. Pakistan's crisis is not an isolated event. Its outcome will set a precedent for democracies everywhere, and the international community cannot afford to look away. The consequences of this crisis will ripple far beyond Pakistan's borders, affecting regional stability, global alliances, and the very idea of constitutional democracy. This is a pivotal moment, a turning point that will define Pakistan's future for generations to come. The choices made now will echo through history. The world watches as Pakistan faces a test of its democratic resilience, and its people stand at the threshold of an uncertain tomorrow. To grasp the crisis, we must look at Pakistan's fraught judicial history, a battleground between military, executive, and the people. The judiciary has often found itself at the crossroads of power, where its decisions have had far-reaching consequences for the nation's political landscape. The courts have alternately validated coups and stood against authoritarian overreach, struggling to uphold constitutional supremacy. This dual role has made the judiciary both a pillar of justice and a pawn in political games. Recently, the Supreme Court emerged as a powerful check on government, expanding rights, and disqualifying prime ministers. This newfound assertiveness has been both celebrated and criticized, reflecting the complex dynamics of power in Pakistan. This assertiveness made it a target. The judiciary's bold stance has led to increased tensions with the executive branch, resulting in a series of confrontations that have shaken the foundations of Pakistan's democracy. The 26th Amendment in 2024 began eroding judicial autonomy, setting the stage for today's conflict. This amendment was seen as a direct attempt to curtail the judiciary's power, sparking widespread debate and concern among legal experts and the public alike. A landmark women's rights ruling in late 2025 showcased the court's progressive stance, but also fueled government efforts to rein in judicial power. This ruling was a significant victory for women's rights activists, yet it also highlighted the growing rift between the judiciary and the executive. The 27th Amendment is the executive's answer, a decisive move to silence the independent judiciary. This amendment represents a critical juncture in the ongoing struggle for power, with the executive seeking to consolidate its authority. The battle is over who holds ultimate authority in the state. As the judiciary and the executive continue to clash, the future of Pakistan's democracy hangs in the balance, with each side vying for control in a high-stakes power struggle. The 27th Amendment, rushed through Parliament, marks a dark turning point for Pakistan's democracy. Presented as reform, it's been condemned as a constitutional coup, dismantling the judicial structure and creating the Federal Constitutional Court to usurp the Supreme Court's role. The amendment grants sweeping immunities to the president and top military figures, placing them above the law. Passed without broad consultation, it reflects deep political division and prioritizes power over democratic health. The government, led by Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and President Asif Ali Zardari, stands accused of sacrificing institutional integrity for self-preservation. This is not reform, it's a fundamental restructuring of power. The Federal Constitutional Court, created by the 27th Amendment, now holds exclusive authority over constitutional matters. The Supreme Court, once the guardian of the Constitution, is relegated to a secondary role. The new court's decisions are binding on all others, including the Supreme Court, but not vice versa. Judges are appointed by the President on the Prime Minister's advice, raising fears of executive control. The Judicial Commission, once dominated by judges, now has a political majority, ensuring government influence over appointments. High court judges can be transferred without consent, a tool to punish dissent. These changes politicize the judiciary from top to bottom, eroding its independence. The balance of power has shifted decisively to the executive. The strongest rebuke to the controversial amendment came from within the very heart of Pakistan's judiciary. Supreme Court Justices Syed Mansoor Ali Shah and Athar Minalla, both highly respected for their integrity and commitment to the rule of law, made the unprecedented decision to resign in protest. Their departures were not just personal choices, they were acts of defiance that reverberated across the nation, signaling a deep fracture within the judicial system. In their powerful statements, both justices condemned the amendment, warning that it would destroy the very foundation of judicial independence and unravel the unified court system that had long been a pillar of Pakistan's democracy. Their words were a clarion call, echoing the fears of many who saw the amendment as a direct threat to the Constitution. Justice Shah described the creation of the new court as a rupture in the constitutional design, a break from the principles that had guided the nation's legal framework for decades. He warned that such a move would set a dangerous precedent, undermining the checks and balances essential to any democracy. Justice Minalla, in his resignation, mourned what he called the death of the Constitution itself. He expressed deep sorrow over the erosion of judicial authority and the loss of public trust in the courts, emphasizing that the Constitution was meant to be a living document, not one to be discarded for political convenience. The resignation sent immediate shockwaves through the legal community and the wider public. News channels flashed breaking updates while lawyers and judges across the country reacted with disbelief and concern. For many, these resignations symbolized a judiciary unwilling to legitimize a compromised system and a refusal to be silent in the face of injustice. The dissent did not stop there. Justice Shams Mahmood Mirza of the Lahore High Court and former Attorney General Makhdoom Ali Khan also stepped down, further amplifying the sense of crisis. Their decisions underscored the gravity of the situation and showed that the resistance was spreading beyond the Supreme Court. These acts of protest deeply demoralized young lawyers and law students who looked up to these figures as role models. The resignation signaled a profound crisis of confidence in the system, leaving the next generation of legal professionals uncertain about the future of justice in Pakistan. The guardians of the law, by stepping down, made it clear they would not be complicit in the dismantling of the very system they had sworn to protect. Their actions were a testament to the enduring importance of judicial integrity. The judiciary's protest stands as a powerful indictment of the government's actions, and a reminder that the fight for justice and constitutional order is far from over. The 27th Amendment consolidates executive power, neutralizing the independent Supreme Court and undermining the separation of powers. The Prime Minister now faces fewer constraints, able to push through controversial laws with little fear of judicial review. Lifelong immunity for the President and military leaders insulates them from accountability. Political opposition and civil society now face a legal system stacked against them. The International Commission of Jurists condemned the amendment as a full frontal assault on the rule of law. Public trust in institutions, already fragile, has been shattered. The judiciary was the last hope for justice. Its compromise leaves citizens unprotected. The government's power grab has come at the cost of its own legitimacy. Pakistan's political environment is now more volatile than ever. The crisis has immediate economic fallout. Investors and businesses need legal certainty, now undermined by a politicized judiciary. Foreign investment is likely to dry up, and domestic businesses hesitate to expand amid legal unpredictability. Corruption and cronyism may rise as political connections trump legal principles. The economic cost will be measured in lost growth and opportunity for ordinary Pakistanis. Socially, the resignations have fractured the legal community and sparked protests, but also a sense of hopelessness. The Supreme Court's role in protecting rights, exemplified by its women's rights ruling, is now in jeopardy. Vulnerable groups face greater risk as the new court's independence is questioned. The social contract between citizens and the state is eroding. The world is watching with alarm. The International Commission of Jurists and human rights groups have condemned the amendment as a violation of international standards. They warn that a judiciary controlled by the executive cannot protect human rights or hold power to account. Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch highlight the risks to activists, journalists, and minorities. Lifelong immunities for top officials create a culture of impunity. Western governments face a dilemma: strategic interests versus democratic principles. The international response in the coming weeks will be critical. This is more than a political crisis. It's a warning about democracy's fragility everywhere. The actions of justices who resign for principle are a lesson in courage and integrity. Their protest is a call to action for Pakistanis and defenders of justice worldwide. The future now rests with lawyers, students, activists, and citizens willing to demand restoration of constitutional order. The international community must use its leverage to support the rule of law. Journalists and rights monitors must keep the spotlight on Pakistan. The battle for the Constitution is a battle for the nation's future. The story is far from over.